On page Beis, three lines, three of the wide lines on the bottom from the end of the top section. The line starts with word le-ohr zeh. So we're again talking about moichin and distinguishing between atzmos ha-moichin and ha'oras ha-moichin. And we say atzmos ha-moichin can only be present in a place that is a keili for moichin, exclusively for moichin. And there it is, the inyan ha-moichin is misgala, reveals itself in its full capacity, in full glory. As we said, and in that case, there the keili becomes like the oil itself. And actually, he brings down from the Eitz Chaim that the Inyan HaMoichin is principally Neshama Pnimis. It's actually the Oyer Leki that's in the Moichin. Neshama Pnimis, that's the meaning is called Moichin, is because this Neshama is mislabish in Kelim. But these Kelim are fully geared, are fully relating to the oyer into the fullest, to the point where they actually sense the inyan of the oyer. That's called etzem ha-moichin. And then at the end of this line, I said le-ohr zeh, misamish behoya pevichinas pnimis ubechinas ha-gilui ha-kelim. This oyer is the gilui and kelim, and we explained this morning another time the principle of kelim. Kelim is not merely a place where there is a presence of something, but it remains as a separate entity. Like we gave originally the mashal. If you have a cup, you put water in the cup, versus you put pebbles in the cup. You put pebbles in the cup, you can, it also fills the cup, and you can carry the pebbles while you're carrying the cup. But there is no relationship of oil and keili between the pebbles and the cup. The cup is not made to hold pebbles. A cup is made to disseminate and serve water. There, the water really finds its fullest expression. There's a significance of this relationship between the water and the cup. Via the cup, the water can fulfill its mission of serving water. This is one of the major missions of water. The pebbles in the cup have nothing to do with each other. Therefore, it's not called an oil keili. Keili means something that actually enables the oil to fulfill its mission. It's meant oil keili. The same thing is the oil ha-sechel, oil in the moichin. The inyan of oil ha-sechel is that the sechel, that the neshama, should be sensed at the sechel level. As we said from the Eitz Chaim, that the real inyan of moichin is the oil pnimis an nefesh. But it is sense on the sechel level. There, the moichin are a keili for it because it enables this type of revelation. Okay, now we continue on. I said 3 lines on the bottom. Will be kelim at the end of the line. Will be kelim the midos, but then there is a kelim of midos. Just like the moichin is a keili for sechel, there is the kelim of midos, where the sechel is also mislavish and midos. But these kelim may bechinas eir hamidos begil. Then in those kelim, the aspect of eir hamidos comes begil. This is where it is in full expression. Again, I just want to make the emphasis. The word begilu is used here in a very significant manner. Just as we said in the mashal of the pebbles and the water. The water in the cup allows the water to express itself, what water is. That's mean begilu. The pebbles are not served at all by the cup. The similar thing is Omeir Eir Hamidus Begilui. Eir Hamidus Omeir Begilui means they find the full expression in the kelim of the midas. Like Chesed, and the same thing in the moichin. The oil has sechel is meir in the moichin Begilui. Just as we said several times lately, that the eye has the koyach ha're'iyah, the koyach of sight. The koyach ha're'iyah fits into the eye perfectly, to such an extent that when you see through the eye, you're not even aware that you're seeing with your eye. You're seeing with the koyach ha're'iyah, although clearly you see it through the eye. The same thing is in the sechel in the mayach. You don't say, I'm thinking with my brain, I'm thinking with my sechel. Even though, in fact, it is contained in the mayach. The similar union is in midas. The oil ha-midas is mislabish in the midas, in the heart. You're not feeling in the heart, you're feeling with the midas, with the oil ha-midas, oil ha-chesed. Because the oil there is mislabish and relates fully to the keili. What is the function of the keili? The function of the keili is to bring the oil to a lower level, to bring the oil at a level like the oil should be known in the moyach begashmis, in a gashmistic person. And the koyach ha're'iyah should function on the gashmistic level. This is what the eye is about. But it's exactly that same koyach. Okay. So the kelim the midas meir bechinas oil hamidas begil. There the oil hamidas is begilo, means it's a full expression. But then that aspect that is present in the midas, mibchinas hameichin of the moichin aspect, which we have learned just now in this section. The aspect of moichin present in the midos is only the bechina, the aspect of the chitzoynes hameichin. The chitzoynes hameichin and the ha'ora of meichin, as we already discussed, this is not the etzem hameichin. Etzem HaMeichin is present only in the moyach, in the keili that is suited for moyach, for the oil. Midos have their own agenda. Midos have their own agenda. Chesed has its own agenda. Bura has its own agenda. The hand has a koyach hatunua. The sechel is slavish in the hand. The hand is not interested in the sechel. The hand is interested in the exercise of writing.
Wait, didn't we just get done saying they're a good keili on their level, and now we're saying they have their own agenda?
The hand?
The hand or the gevura that it's
No. The gevura is a keili for the midah of gevura, but not for the sechel that is mislavish in the gevura.
The midah has an agenda different from the moichin?
Yes, the midah is a midah, chesed. The moichin provide the midah a certain sechel-dike context.
One more time. The midah is a good receptacle for
The midah is a receptacle for the oil hamidus.
and the aura midas is like a derivative of Hitzonius sechel.
No. Oil hamidus is oil hamidus. In the nefesh there are 10 koiches. Chabad, Chagas, and Nehi.
Rabbi Paltiel?
1 second. Yes. I have here a perplexed, very perplexed member.
I'm wondering if it would be fair to say that when you're saying
1 sec.
it's not...
Baruch, 1 second.
No?
No, you were in the middle of saying that.
Are you still perplexed?
Yeah, what are they receiving? That is to say,
The midas?
you said aura midas, yeah.
Oil hamidas. In the nefesh there are 10 koiches.
Mhm.
Just as there is Chabad, there is also Chagad, there is Chesed, Gur, and Tiferes. And the midas, this is the Chesed, Gur, and Tiferes. And the oil from the nefesh of the oil Chesed is slavish in the midas of Chesed.
What's the last piece again? The aura of Chesed.
The oil of Chesed is slavish in the midah of Chesed.
I always thought a little differently. That is, that Chesed receives from the sechel that is above it, and then when it's a fitting response, sechel is revealed, but based on some kind of sechel, not on aura midas.
Okay. So now, this is not new, but let's clarify it. These are two separate statements. Midas are midas. But the seichel is mislabish in all koiches that are below it, including in the koichat nur shebiyad. But nur is not seichel. Nur is a koichat nur in the head. Midas is not seichel. Midas are midas and nefesh. But there is seichel that follows throughout all the Giluim from the nefesh, including the midas. But this is what the Rebbe is explaining. The seichel element that follows through in the lower koiches is not the same seichel element that's in the moyach itself.
It's a ha'ara.
It's a ha'ara. Chitzeni is the same.
But this is what enlivens the midah. Oh, no.
This is what gives the midah a seichel perspective. In other words, not only do I feel like this, but it's the right thing to feel like this.
So that's to say, it doesn't have its own agenda where it kind of runs away with it, but it has its own style of expression. Let's say.
No. The midah does have its own agenda.
It does have its own agenda.
But the seichel can illuminate it.
But like left to its own devices, the midah would just...
Left to its own devices, the midah can go to some extreme, one way or the other. Okay, Baruch, your turn.
Well, I was going to ask, trying to understand what this means about the seichel. The midah doesn't have the etzem seichel; it has the ha'ara of the seichel. So the midah doesn't really understand. The midah is there to, I don't know how to express this. The seichel identifies why something is a good thing. The midah, when it gets the message that it's a good thing, it has the power to be attracted to it. That power doesn't come from the sechel, it comes from the midah.
The power,
right?
Yes. The attractiveness, the attraction of the midah is independent of the sechel.
Right. I'm saying what the midah doesn't get is the real sechel behind why this is a good thing.
Right.
That's true?
Right.
So the midah is not a keili for understanding why, in sechel terms, this is a good thing.
Right. You know what? We'll come back to midas. I just want to make it easy for us in a tangible way to understand it, because midas is also, just as we don't understand seichel perfectly, midas is also in the shominion. But when you come down to a lower koich, it's like koich hat-nur shebiyad.
We're trying to deal with the midah stuff. That's
Yes.
what's the challenge to find out about.
Absolutely. So let's first identify this, answer your question on koich hat-nur shebiyad, and then we'll translate it. We transfer it to the midas.
Yeah. Okay.
Koich hat-nur shebiyad also is illuminated by the seichel, to the extent that the hand can be directed to do very intricate movements. He can write beautifully, he can draw, and so forth, which is not part of the koich hat-nur shebiyad. It is the seichel, as it imbues itself in the koich hat-nur shebiyad, illuminating it and directing it to draw a certain picture.
And the hand is not going to understand why that picture is beautiful.
Exactly. And we pointed out, where do we see that this is not etzem ha-seichel? If you draw the picture wrongly, it doesn't look right. Who is bothered by it? The hand, or the koich hat-nur shebiyad, or the seichel that's in the hand, or the seichel that's in the brain?
The seichel that's in the brain.
Exactly. That's etzem ha-seichel. This is where this whole drawing, this whole picture originates, where it makes sense. In the hand, it doesn't make any sense. The hand is directed to do it, and it's able to do it. The same is true, and I translate this into midas. Midas don't have seichel per se, but the seichel is able to illuminate the midah and direct it and give it a meaning. But the midah does not itself become imbued with this meaning. It is under the jurisdiction of the seichel that directs the midah in a meaningful manner. Again, if the midah is misconstrued, misdirected, the midah itself is not shocked. It's the seichel that's unhappy about this. Says, how can you do this? This is wrong.
So if the midah goes overboard, for example, and something goes from simcha to hailulus or something like that,
Right.
the midah doesn't care.
Right. The midah, let's say, in a positive, in a good way. A person is very generous, and someone comes up after him asking for tzedakah. He looks up his account, and he says, "What's the balance in the account?" and writes a check on the full balance. So then he says, "How do you pay rent the coming month?" Rent? I had a tzedakah to give. Who cares about the rent? The midah doesn't care about rent. Midah doesn't have seichel. Michal responds as a midah. Oh, look at this guy, he's so distraught, I have to give him. If I give him $1, it's not going to take him out of his depression. If I give him $1,000, oh, maybe that'll lift him up. Mm-hmm. And the midah does not realize that it does not have this seichel element. The seichel is there, but the midah on its own doesn't have it. That's why it has to be subservient to the seichel.
So what does it mean in this same example that the midah is, however, a perfect keili for the Oyer HaChesed.
That's right. It's a perfect keili for the Oyer HaChesed. When it does
What is
chesed,
how do we see that in the example?
when it does chesed, you feel good. Because it's your thing. Not just the right thing, you feel good. You're expressing your midah. But again, the sechel then tells the midah, hold it, do it right. Do the midah api sechel. So the sechel can be mislavish in the midah, and the midah can understand the sechel to the extent that it knows that it should listen to the sechel. So be subservient to the sechel. It knows that the sechel is a superior element, and therefore it can be directed by the sechel. But even when it is directed by the sechel, it does not become sechel. It does not really recognize that this is the right thing.
It could easily revert back to its own.
Okay.
Thank you for that explanation.
All right. This is what we were saying just now. Again, I'm repeating at the end of the third or second line from the bottom. That which is present of the meichin in the midos, it is the aspect of chitzonos hameichin and ha'aros on levad. We already did attempt to translate the word chitzonos hameichin. What is chitzonos hameichin? Etzem hameichin. Chitzonos hameichin means this is how things should be. Etzem hameichin is this is how things are. Chitzonos hameichin can tell the means and this is how you should behave. But it does not provide the etzem hameichin with the midas, because midas are not a keili for meichin. I said, this is what he said, midas have their own agenda. And midas are chesed is chesed. It is not moichin. Okay, let's continue. And therefore, this is only the ha'ora of the moichin. What is ha'ora? Ha'ora means how the moichin are reflected outside of the moichin. Okay, this is a whole discussion here. All of these aspects and all of these details that we identified, that there is the oil is the oil hakoiches are mislavish in their kelim. Then there is the oil hakoiches that's mislavish in kelim that are not their kelim, and it's a different kind of islapshus. This entire presentation, who is mipnei, due to the fact she'oil is boyim bibchines islapshus pnimi. It is the fact that the oil is calm, which means they actually they relate to the kelim b'vchinas islapshus pnimi in a form of islapshus pnimi, of an internalized islapshus. What internalized islapshus mean, like I said before, when you put pebbles in a cup, there is no relationship between the cup and the pebbles. You put water in a cup, there is a relationship between the cup and the water. This means islapshus pnimi. And the same thing is on the higher level, on ruchnis koiches. Islapshus pnimi means that when the oil has sechel comes in the brain, the sechel seeks to explain itself to the brain so that the brain would sense what sechel is. The same is midos are mislabish in the heart, in the other, whatever it's their limbs. They are suited for those letters. The same is true, and again, this is important because this is always a good thing to revert back to. The koyach hatnua. The koyach hatnua is a perfect fit with the hand. When we move the hand, we don't sense that we're moving, that the koyach hatnua is moving the hand. The hand is moving. How can the hand move? It's a piece of meat, a bone. How does it move? Because the koyach hatnua is so uniquely and totally misgala in the hand, unites with the hand, that you can distinguish between the koyach hatnua and the hand. This means Yislapshus Pnimi. Well, okay, because it's a Yislapshus Pnimi, therefore, this is why Tzorich li es hakli kefi madreges ha'ir. This is why the keili must be according to the madrega of the oir. The keili has to be suited to receive the madrega of the oir. So that the oil should come into the keili in a manner of hislapshus. Because if the oil has to be translated in a different world than the oil is, it's not hislapshus. Like in the case when sechel is mislavish in the koyach hatnua shebiyad, it's not a slapshus pnimi. It guides it and directs it, but the hand doesn't become smart as a result of writing the AyinBase. 1,000 times, the hand will not know the AyinBase.
Becomes refined, you mentioned, but it doesn't know.
There is the element of training. Training is not the same as teaching. Lahavdil, you can train a dog also. The dog doesn't become smart like these idiots say, oh, look at this dog. He's trained, doesn't know what he's doing. Like the story with the Rambam, with the cat. Okay. Let's say the kitzur quickly. This is the kitzur of this last ois. Ois hey. Ba'adugma misal amayl. Dugma misal amayl, dugma to what we discussed before, the koiches of moichin and midos in a human being. The similar thing is lamayl. Hine Atzilus hu bechinas Adam Eli. Atzilus is that bechina, this is the Adam L'mayla. Vehein oires ha-mislabshim b'keili, which means that the Atzilus is oires that are in keili. Mislavish in keili. This is why we say in Atzilus there are 10 spheres. Even though Atzilus is an oir, is an oilam oiliki, but the 10 spheres because the spheres there are mislavish in keili. Just as we say in a human being, Chesed dreyo yimino, Chochma meicho. Chesed is the right arm, and Chochma is meicho, and Chochma is meich. Because in Atzilus, Chochma is not the oil ha-chokhmah, the pure oil ha-chokhmah, the way it is in the oil, in the mokir, but it is chokhmah, oil ha-chokhmah is labish in the kli ha-chokhmah. And the kli ha-chokhmah is called moyach. The hislapshus oil ha-moichin, which means, as we explained just now, that hislapshus, the full imbuing of oil ha-moichin, hu begimel rishonos davke, is possible only in the gimel rishonos, in the three upper spheres, chokhmah, bina, v'das, because those spheres and those kelim are more refined than the other kelim. V'oil ha-midas, and then following to oil ha-midas, he mislabish b'kli ha-midas, he mislabish in the kli ha-midas only. Then we said further, v'yesh gamkin islapshus ha-meichem b'midas, but there is also the union from meichem mislabish and midas. V'gam b'bchinas malchus, even to the point where it's mislabish in malchus, which is the furthest and external union of midas itself. V'hu inyan chokhmah the ma'aseh bereishis, which is the chokhmah in ma'aseh bereishis, the chokhmah in execution level, in creation level. So there's chokhmah in this action level. Zehu ha'or levat. But this is only ha'or of the meichin that says this is the way it should be. But this is not the atzem ha'meichin. The atzmos ha'meichin heimer gimel rishonos davke. The atzem of the meichin is only in gimel rishonos. Shehein keilim al ha'oir. Gimel rishonos, they are keilim to the oil of meichin. I have always a desire to repeat certain things, and we should, but this is a kitzur, it's already repetition.
I don't think it's a problem if you repeat something. That's my opinion.
If there is the oil ha-moichin, the oil ha-chokhmah, so what is the point of the chokhmah? The oil ha-chokhmah is lavish in kli ha-chokhmah. You have the oil itself. What does the kli ha-chokhmah do? And why do you need the kli ha-chokhmah if you have the oil ha-chokhmah? Again, we'll go into the mashal of Chokhmah as it is on the physical, on the lowest level in sight, in the ear. There are two phenomena in sight which I want to mention, and there are more. One thing is that the oil of sight, the oil of the ear, is like the oil of Chokhmah. But Chokhmah cannot see the physical world. Only when it's mislabesh in a physical eye, then you can see the physical world. This is one phenomenon. And then there's another, perhaps even more significant element in the fact that the oil is mislabesh in a keili. Sight is a phenomenal koyach, as we discussed all the time. It's like Chokhmah. From the perspective of the oil of sight, There is no limit. I could see not only what's in front of me, I can see what's in the side, what's in the back, what's up and down. It's all automatic. If it were not, if the koyach hariyah would not be limited, would focus just in the eye, if my whole forehead would be an eye all around, it'd be wonderful, right? It'd be impossible. That human being would not be able to function in the physical world. Not because he doesn't see, he sees too much. To be in the physical world, you have to be able to see a limited amount of it, even though here is a phenomenal koyach, because you see things instantaneously, but still it is focused.
You need that limited perspective.
You need that to be contained in a worldly environment, and you should be able to control it.
And close your eyes.
And close your eyes. You want to control it and guide. See this and don't see this. If the eyes were all over, you could not direct what you see, what you don't see. It could not be under the direction of chokhmah, of sechel, of midas, or whatever. In other words, the function of the keili is to bring the oil to a different world so that you can function in that world. It is not any different, it's still oil HaChokhmah. It's still oil HaChokhmah 100%. Because it brings to your consciousness the reality of the world. But it's a worldly reality.
Wait, why is bringing the reality of the world or a chokhmah?
Because that's what chokhmah is.
I thought chokhmah is bringing something beyond reality of the world.
Reality is beyond world.
Reality is... What does that mean?
Reality means the creator element. World is not real. World is a created entity. So this is the principle of oil mislavish in a keili. And that we say Atzilus is a world. Because the oil is...
I'm sorry, I missed this discussion. You were just... how did you get into the discussion of real?
Real means that it is a godly creation. That's what real means.
No, but how did it come out of this summary of what we're just doing?
That chokhmah or sight is mislavish in the eye. This is like chokhmah mislavish in the physical arena. And it permits the chokhmah that sight is to function in a worldly environment, and a person should not go crazy. He should act like a normal person, human being. But still, it serves the same level within that madriga, within the world madriga. It serves the madriga of chokhmah, that it shows the reality of the world. So Reb Shlomo objected. Reality of the world. The world is not real. So here came the answer that yes, the world is real because there's a godly element in the world. Just like we finished saying over here in all madrigas. Chokhmah, the principle of Chokhmah is the oil aliki that's in the Chokhmah. The principle of Chokhmah in the human being is the oil hanefesh that's in the Chokhmah. In the keili. This is the enormous fallacy and error that the world has taken, that intelligence means that which I experimented, that I experienced. By touching, you're eliminating, you're missing the whole point. Where's the nefesh? All right, Baruch, you got it?
Yes, I believe so.
Good.
For the moment, anyway.
Okay. That's what, in this world, everything has to be for the moment. And then you contemplate it, remember it. Everything has to be contained in time and space. Okay, we continue on Ois Vav. 3 lines from the bottom on page Yud Beis. V'zehu hatam. This, in fact, is also the reason. This, in fact, means the fact that the oiros are mislabshim in a oif pnimi in the keili. Pnimi means again that they actually relate to the keili. They give the keili the sensation of being like oil. And the best moshel we have for that is in sight. Sight is a koyach nefesh at the high and the finest level. We see it through the eye. Do we sense that we see through the eye? Not at all. We just see. But the eye is a keili for this koyach in such a perfect manner that you don't sense that you see through the eye. And it's important, it's extremely important that you see through the eye, like we just now explained. But the oil is fully mislapshus in the keili. So therefore, because it's Islapshus Pnimis, this is the reason Mashe HaKelim Poyalim Behoirois. But the Kelim have an effect on the Oirois, on the Oir, Lihayois Kimahuz HaKelim. That the Oir should be and become like Kimahuz HaKeili, like the reality of the keili itself.
Is that why the eye does not have a sense of functionality? Because the ohr of the eye has become like the eye.
Well, true, but this is right now we're talking about the reversing. That is a phenomenal thing. That the koyach or the ear of the neshama can see a gashmizik thing. This is what the keili has an effect on the oil. Because the oil.
Back up and say that again.
With me?
Say that again.
This is what the keili had an effect on the oil.
Yeah, no, you illustrated what had just taken place. Just
the oil was mislabish. The oil, hariyah, the koyach is mislabish in the keili, and the keili makes the koyach hariyah at the level of the keili, or like the keili, which means you're able to see a physical element. I'm going to take you a step deeper, but because it's so phenomenal. But everybody should measure their own intellect.
just seeing the object is is that in itself is beyond the ability of the nefesh. Of the nefesh.
No, the koyach nefesh. Seeing a physical object, yes. Seeing an object is beyond the ability of the eye.
Oh, okay.
Seeing a physical object.
Seeing what is beyond the...
Seeing anything.
Yeah.
Any function
Yes.
is beyond the ability of the keili.
Okay.
Moving the hand is beyond the ability of the hand.
Okay.
Seeing a physical object is below the ability of the koyach hariyah. Koyach hariyah is what we say is comparable to chokhmah. Chokhmah and the physical object, where does it come to? Okay, we got this, and this is, I said, this is the phenomenal thing that's taking place. We see a physical object. A physical object has no inherent truth in and of itself. You see a ruchnisike concept. It's true in and of itself. A physical object does not have an inherent truth in and of itself. On all levels, it was just a creation, and it was just formed, it was brought into this place. It doesn't necessarily belong in this place. This is something which is not describing the physical object. And yet, we see it as a truth. Sight tells us that the world is real. In other words, sight gives us a sense of the reality of the world at chokhmah level. There is nothing in human experience more convincing than sight. As I pointed out many times, that this is odd. Because if I hit my hand on the table, I felt the table. What can be better proof that there's a table here if it hurts me? And yet, if I saw the table and I also hit my hand, what will remain my memory? Oh, there's a real table over here. The fact that I hit my hand or the fact that I saw it? The fact that I hit my hand, this is proof, this is an experience. But it doesn't tell me the truth of it. Sight is undeniable. I saw the reality itself. Not I know, I have proof that it's there because I saw it. When I hit my hand on it, it's proof that it's there. When I see it, it's not proof. Then I and the reality of the subject is one.
You know, you said that the guest and the host, the guest has to appreciate the host. For many of the things to be understood in this relationship, if the guest is oblivious to what a host is, so the guest doesn't get the point. So here, when you're looking, you see the reality, this has to be on the level of seeing with chokhmah, so to speak.
And that's a special gift that Rebbe gives to every human being. He can blurt it. He can blur it. And he can refuse to trust it and go and create a new version of how he knows the world. That's what all the scientists say. Know the world because I have proof. That's not how we know the world. Yes, sir.
You say that sight is undeniable.
What?
Yeah. But also, when you hit the table with the hand, the scientist is going to say this experience is also undeniable. How do you differentiate these two undeniable characteristics?
The undeniable part in hitting the table is that the table is a hard surface that hurts your hand. It's not proving that this is a table. And that's not proving that it belongs here. The proof is only that my hand is hurting. It's a completely, it's a what we call the chitzonistic thing. It's a triviality of what the reality is. It's a ha'ora, it's chitzonis, it's my experience with it. My experience is that's proof that it's real.
Can I ask you a question before you go on?
Yes.
So if I understand what you said earlier, you said the eye by itself can't see anything. It's the koyach hariyah in the eye that enables it to see. The koyach hanefesh, right?
Yes, sir.
But on the other hand, the koyach hanefesh, without the eye, could never see anything in the physical world.
Right.
By its, right?
Right.
So it's the joining of these two things that makes it possible to see in the physical world.
Right.
This is the maflilasis. Is that right?
It's
the
the maflilasis. The maflilasis is on the step before this.
The guf and the neshama generally.
That's right.
But this is how it comes down at the next step.
Right. But the neshama is mislabish in the guf already. And then as a result of that, there is a tremendous phenomenon occurring. That the reality of the neshama experiences the world. The reality of the world. Chochma. Re'iyah is koyach ha-chochma.
Now again, you would think that this is a big yerida for the neshama. What's the big deal? The neshama experiences the reality of the world. The neshama is chelik elikam mal mamash. What does it gain over here? To experience the reality of the world.
Correct. It doesn't gain anything. And the neshama says, what do you want from me? What are you torturing me over here? I don't want to be here. I want to give you a name. That's exactly what's going on.
You asked this question. You said if you have the or, why do you need the keili, right? Isn't that a similar question?
No.
Oh.
But the neshama consents to be in the world because it's given a mission. And the significance of that mission, and especially if it accomplishes it, that gives the neshama an elation that is beyond what it had before it came down to the guf.
Does it remember this while it's down here being tortured?
The neshama itself does, but it complains, why don't you do what he's supposed to do with me? Where are you taking me? The fact is, though, that even while it's being tortured, it doesn't go away. You're still hoping, against hope. The next moment it'll be different. You're thinking you shtus him a whole day. Maybe for 1 second before you go to sleep, you'll think about maybe that'll be my reward.
Rabbi?
Yeah.
When or is Misamesh and keili, it's a perfect fit. The one example you gave where the keili is not sensed is in koach ha're'iyah. But in all other kelim, you'd say that the keili is sensed, or it's the same.
I know what you're saying. Koach ha're'iyah is a proper slapshus.
Right. So you don't sense the eye when you're seeing.
That's again. That's on the
That's a
contrary.
proper mislapshus. So is that the same with all oros and
All
keili?
the keili, right.
You
It's
don't
proper.
sense the keili. You just sense the
Do you sense that you think with your brain or with your sechel?
sechel. Right. So moving, you sense the koach hatanua. You don't sense the hand. If you're doing it right. So there's no process there. It doesn't.
All right. Where are we up to?
Is this torture, master?
What? Oh, okay. All right. I think I don't have a watch with me. All right. So this will be it for this evening, and it wasn't all torture, right? There's some oil now. Okay, let's have a mind for those who did. Okay. Have a great night.
Yeah.